Hey everybody, this is Brad from Johnson Small Engines, better known as the one-handed mechanic. If I can do it, you can too. Today we have here a Poulan Pro. This is a 18 horsepower twin-cylinder Briggs & Stratton engine with a 42-inch mower deck. It's been around a long time. I did clean up most of the machine for you, even though we're not getting into this. This actually was made in the year 2000. This machine was left at the customer's house when he bought the house, and he said it needs a tune-up and the blades were loose. So today I'm going to show you why the blades were loose, and we're going to fix that. So the first thing we need to do is I'm going to show you all the tools at the end of this video, but we need to get this mower deck off. And the first thing I recommend is if you can do it on asphalt or concrete, it makes it a lot easier. And a lot of people even said in comments that if you had a sheet of plywood to slide it out, that helps too. But also getting the mower deck off, I use a pry bar to help lift up the mower deck when I'm trying to get the pins out. And blocks of wood also helps out. So we're going to go ahead and put the emergency brake on so it doesn't move on us, and then we're going to put the mower deck all the way in the most furthest down position. The brake on. We're going to put the mower deck all the way down as far as you can get it. We're going to go ahead and start at the front of the mower deck. Okay, so I want to come down here and start at the mower deck belt, which is pretty simple to drop it off of this side. Now there is a guide on the other side, and that's right here. Now, if you have no guides, you should have a guide or your belt's going to keep falling off. So keep that in mind if you do get a machine used or something like that. There's going to be a guide on one side or a guide on the other, or you might have two guides. Now, you can also tell by looking at these holes in the frame right here, if you see a bolt sticking out and a nut on it, and it has like a piece of metal that's broken off, that might be a guide that broke. Through the years, I've seen it happen a lot. This guide is over here. We're just going to drop it down below that guide. It comes right off. All right, so we have to take off this pin here, and if the pins are jammed up against the frame of the mower deck, push the rod in a little bit to make it loose so you can get it out. These are the old style clips, and these clips are very good clips. They're hard to get out and they're hard to put back on again, but they don't fall off. Pull that out like so. And I'm just going to go ahead now. If there's a lot of tension on this bar, which there is now, that's when I go ahead and I'll put my pry bar underneath it, pick up a little bit, just a little bit, and that gives it just enough to make it loose, to make it pop out. Now, if I was taking the mower deck off for a long period of time, I'd highly recommend taking the other one of these off. Now, this is an old mower which came with two of these brackets in the front. We have one on this side and one on the other side, but we're not going to do that one yet. I'm going to come to the center right here. And we have to take off this pin to get this lever off. And as you can see how this pin is actually facing forward. I want this pin, when we put it back on, to face rearward. I want to put this in the other direction when we put it back together again, because we do 90% of our driving forward. And if we're moving forward, this can actually pop out if you hit something, versus if you had it in the other way, you only have like a 10% chance of it popping out going this way when you're going reverse. So this guy has it in pretty far. I'm going to use my pry bar. I'm going to push it out the other direction. Pop that off. Now the mower deck is actually hanging on this hanger. So again, I'm going to use my pry bar underneath my deck. I'm going to pick it up a little bit and it'll come off like that. And then I'm going to put it on top of that stud so it doesn't get caught underneath it. And then I'm going to lower the mower deck down. Now we do have, back in the day, they made a really nice stabilizer bar for these mower decks. I wish they would have kept that. Not sure why, but it really did help mobilize the mower deck from moving side to side. And you do have to take out this pin here. Drop the stabilizer bar. Now we're going to go around to the other side. Okay, so we have to take this one off, and this one's loose. So we're just going to go ahead and pop this pin out. That bar off. Going to come down here. Now they have it in correctly, but I wouldn't have it in so far. I have it right in the middle, but you'll see that when we put it back on. I'm going to go ahead and use my pry bar again to push it out. Do have to lift up on the mower deck a little bit to release the tension on this arm. Put it on top. Now I'll put the mower deck height all the way up into the highest position. And what that does is it takes these bars out of the way right here. And then we can go ahead and slide the mower deck out a little bit because this has a blade engagement cable that we need to remove. Oops. Okay, we slide it out a little bit, we can get right to the cable here, and it has the washer on the bottom is supposed to be there to help so it doesn't rub and wear. So that's this is how it's supposed to be set up. So it's the pin, the washer, and then your spring will come right off. And then back here, now there's supposed to be a clip back here, a large one, and this one is missing. And as you can see, this little rubber gasket here is supposed to go over that, and then you put the pin in. We're going to go ahead and put a pin in at the end, but to take it off, you just pull this through, pop it out. Now it's gonna rub on the rear wheel, so I'm going to hang it in the front here, just hook it like that. Now we can take the mower deck out. Okay, as you can see, I cleaned the machine, but I didn't get to this because I don't like to really wash right in here, and I didn't take the mower off before I cleaned the machine. So everybody says the machines always look brand new. This machine is 25 years old, and it's still doing really well. The owner before him, now granted it was very dirty when it came in, but the owner before him did take care of it. Unfortunately, what happens when you try to put blades on without taking the mower deck off, I'll show you what can happen. Okay, before I turn it over and show you the blades, you can already see that this looks pretty new, this plate here, being that this machine is so old. This has already been replaced. When you engage the mower deck, this plate wears a lot. I have a video on how to replace this. And this spring here is also important for when it comes back in the neutral position. So when you engage your mower deck, it's supposed to release like that. Okay, what it does when you engage your mower deck, it actually opens up these brakes right here. You got one here and you got one underneath that cover. And this is being held on when you engage your mower deck up top. Now when you disengage your mower deck, that just slides out just like that. That's the way it's supposed to work. If yours does not move back and forth freely, then most likely you have worn out right here. And I have a newer version of replacing, it's a whole kit. It comes with the brakes and this arm. And I'll put that in the link in the description below. And also when you're up here, spin your bearings, make sure they're not loud. You can still get parts for this, which is great. But this is what happened when somebody tried to be on his back and put generic blades on and try to do it by hand. This is what happens. All right, and I'll show you when I take these blades off that it mushrooms the shaft, and unfortunately, when you mushroom the shaft, it's a big safety problem, and you have to replace the shaft or you have to replace the whole hub assembly. I'm going to replace the shafts today. You can also replace the whole hub assembly if you'd like to, depending on how mechanical you want to get into this thing or not. So what we need to do is take the blades off. This is a 9/16 socket. I'm going to use power tools today, and using power tools on this one is you almost have to have it because it's really hard. You're going to have to hold to stop this from spinning. If you're using a wrench, you can't use the blade because that's all messed up inside here. The shaft is messed up where the star is. You're going to have to put a wrench on top here. This is a 15/16 wrench. You're going to have to put a wrench on there, and then you're going to have to use a wrench on here and wrench it off. But I'm just going to go ahead and use electric power tools to get this off. I'm going to put this on its back. And if you put it on its back, you have to be careful when you're setting this down that you don't crush all the pulleys. And so I highly recommend, as you can see, I use a lot of wood blocks to put my mower decks up so they're not going to hurt what's underneath it. So I just put a block of wood under there. Okay, so 9/16, so take this off. Now this guy did a couple different things wrong. One, I can guarantee he did this on his back with it on the machine. Two, he bought generic blades, and this is a generic blade that has this is supposed to come off here. That goes inside here, and it's universal. But also, if you look at this blade, it's sharp. He put the blade on upside down. The blade is not supposed to face this way. Your blades are always supposed to face the deck. So it should have been like this. He was literally cutting his grass like that. And so you can't, it's all messed up. He really did bad. But as you can see, the little teeny finger right there, finger there, finger there, finger there, finger there, that's supposed to be a star, and that's supposed to have a star-shaped blade. The blade we're going to put on, it has a star in it, and you have to match it up with a star on the shaft, which this guy doesn't have it. So we're going to take this shaft out and put a new shaft in. We're going to go over to the other side, which is actually still on the star, but for one, they're upside down. And the same thing. This is the spacer that goes inside here that you can use on the universal blades. I'd highly don't recommend. All you need to do is order the parts for your machine from the model number off the machine. Go to the website and Sears Parts Direct. You can find Poulan parts, and you can see right here where even if we wanted to put a new blade on, it's not going to fit. You need to be able to lock these in and then tighten it up. Now, yes, if you want to tediously try to use a file and clean that up, go ahead. We're going to replace these. They're going to come with lower bearings. I'm going to go ahead and show you that now. This is the OEM kit. I don't like to use aftermarket unless you just have to. So it was nice that we can go ahead and get the OEM. I thought it just came with the lower bearing because obviously it's already pressed on there, which is nice. But as you can see with the star, this is what we start with, and it actually did come with the upper bearing. So we're going to go ahead and replace them both, and also a new nut. Now it did come with the little directions here. Not sure how yours is set up, but they have the old style they have a washer on the bottom and a washer on top. I haven't seen that too much. I've only really come across a lot of this. So this is the new style here, the new flange nut. And what it is basically this nut stops, the threads stop here. And so it actually is like a washer and a nut in one. And so you don't need to have this extra washer on here, but they do want you to have that washer down here. So let's go ahead and take it apart. Okay, so flip it back over again. These covers here, these were always a pain to get off because you would think it's a 3/8 socket that goes on here, but it's also got a star in there, and I think that's okay, so this should be a 30 Torx head, and if you don't have a Torx, it's a 3/8 on the outside there. It's just easier to get the Torx inside this little, right here. And here is a brake on one side. You want to make sure you check that brake. I'm going to go ahead and take the spring off to release the tension on this blade brake here, so we can work on this without having to worry about this being, an issue for us. Just going to use a little hook tool here. Go inside there, take that off. I'm just going to let it hang down, and that'll allow us to have easy access. Now, keeping this stopped while taking this nut off, it's another thing where if you don't have power tools, I have to say, if you're going to DIY this yourself, just go ahead. For the price of a repair at a shop, you can buy all the tools you need and you'll have them for next time. So it's a 15/16 socket that goes on there. I'm just going to put my foot on this, hit it with my electric, and it'll be off. I am going to put a little bit of PB Blaster on this to help it off. Hopefully that'll help a little bit. Don't know how long it's been on there. Just put my foot against it. And actually, if you wanted to, you could have kept that spring on just to help. The brake will help keep it stationary, but I'm just going to use my foot counterclockwise. Comes off. And this one already has the washer in the nut, so either it was like that from new or somebody already upgraded it. That just came right off. And sometimes they have little teeth in here, and you can tell they're a little bit worn, but as long as they're holding on, they're fine. If they're really rounded and they tend to spin, sometimes you can really hammer down on the nut to tighten everything up, or you're going to need to replace this. All right, so we have that washer we were talking about. We're going to go ahead and put this up on a block so I can hit this out. Now, a lot of times these will just fall out. You can use a little PB Blaster in here. I'm going to put the nut on top to help save the threads. Okay, so you didn't really need to worry about
saving the threads on that shaft, because we're going to be replacing the whole shaft assembly. And I go ahead and show you the hammers that I need to use, or the hammers that you can use if you have them. One's a brass hammer, one is a soft hammer, and literally it doesn't matter right now. As long as you can get that shaft out, you're fine. If you are taking these shafts out to try to replace the bearings and the shafts are fine, yes, you must definitely take care of the threads and just be aware of that.
Lift the deck up a little bit. It should just drop down and out. And this is it right here. And as you can see, you see how the old one versus the new one. And always double check to make sure everything looks identical. Now, getting this out, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can turn this over, pop this up. It feels a little bit loose. I'm gonna go ahead and straddle this just to make it. I'm gonna put my one leg, it's holding it up. Be careful when you're doing this, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and put a long steel punch. Just gonna tap it for now. Sometimes they fall right out. Sometimes they don't. We're gonna go ahead and push this up through. And you do have to be careful that the mower deck's not gonna roll away on you, because I can already feel that the one wheel's trying to get me out. Now, I'm just wiggling it from the other side and pushing it up through. I'm just gonna tap on it lightly to let it seat. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the mower deck back down on a block of wood so this won't fall out. I'm holding the top while I'm lifting the mower deck down. So now it's gonna sit on the shaft right here. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill that cavity up with as much grease as I can. I got as much grease as I could pack down in there. We're gonna go ahead and just put the bearing. You wanna push the inside of the bearing, just right where that collar is. Then you can tap it in. Okay, put our washer back on, pulley back on. It's a 7/8 size socket that you're going to use. Okay, I'm going to take the block of wood out. I'm going to go ahead and put the spring on to help us. There's two little notches that the spring goes into. And so that'll help us keep that stationary. Make sure it's not tight. But you got to be careful, just like I said, just like there. You have to make sure that it's 100% tight. Wasn't all the way in. I can use my foot to hold it. All right, that's tight, spinning freely. Everything's good. Go ahead and lift this up and show you guys. So now this is the new one. Everything's tight. We got some grease in there this time, so hopefully that'll make the bearings last even longer. I know a lot of you guys say out there, oh, you don't need to put grease in it because they're sealed bearings. Trust me, put grease in it, they'll last longer. All right, so the blade now, just go on the star. The way you're supposed to sit, it's supposed to lock themselves in. Doing this on your back while it's on the machine is almost impossible to get it correct.
These bolts will come with Loctite on many occasions, and you won't be able to thread in the bolt far enough to keep the blade locked into the star. And then when you go get your wrench to tighten everything up, you actually move the blade out of position, it mushrooms the star, and then there you go again, replacing the blade hub shaft once again.
By doing this off the machine, it makes it much easier to do. Okay, so it's locked in. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side, and we'll be right back here with putting the other blade on, because then we have to make sure that the blades are going side to side correctly. Okay, so I got the other side done, and I want to tell you I did have to straighten this deck out. You gotta make sure that your blades come across even in the center here. A lot of times if you miss this step, you will get a bad cut. and you flip your blades around, it's okay if the blade is going up towards the machine, as long as your lowest point, which is going towards the grass, is actually even with one of the sides. I have had blades, they're not 100% perfectly straight all the time, but they have to come, one side that faces the grass at the lowest point has to come across even. Now also, I wanted to mention this cover here. You may or may not have this on your machine. If you do have it on your machine, 99% of these are always bent up towards the shell, and what it means is that the blade right now, it's super close. Technically, this cover should be down a little bit, so this blade will go under it. As you can see, at one point in life, the blade hit here. A pipe wrench. If you have some way of bending this up a little bit, just enough. This one's not that bad. It has to be flush with the ground, but it has to allow your blade to go underneath it, okay? It shouldn't be anywhere close to this, and this should be pretty flush, all right? And also, check your bolts to make sure these are tightened. There's one here, one here, one here. We're gonna go ahead and flip this over. Make sure your springs are on both sides. Make sure everything is moving the way it should. Not sure if you can see these, but these have rollers. These little teeny rollers here should roll. And there's one on this side here too. If they don't roll, this bracket here can get worn out very quickly. So if you need that kit, like I said, I'll put that in the link in the description below. We do need to put the cover back on here and put the belt in first. The belt must go on the inside of your blade brake here. I'm just gonna pull that out, slide that in. Same goes on this side. The blade brake, the belt goes on the inside. The belt goes straight across the back here. I'm just keeping it a little bit taut while I put the guard on. Always start your bolts before tightening them, all three of these. Just snug them up. It's plastic and you can crack the plastic housing if you over tighten them. Okay, so everything's looking good. We're gonna go ahead and slide this back in again. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and slide this back in. Connect our cable. Do that there. I'm gonna put the washer on and a little clip in. Gonna go ahead and slide it under just enough so you guys can see me here. We're gonna go ahead and slide it through the slot, and if you turn it up, now that little washer goes on first. And then what I normally do is I'll put the mower deck on and engage the blade, but I want you guys to see how it goes on there. I'm just gonna take, this is a long clip, and you can either do it one or the other way. It doesn't matter which way you go, just as long as you get it through one of the holes. You can either do it this way, which is a little bit harder, or you can turn it this way, or you can even do this. These are a little tricky sometimes to do it really the correct way, so do it like this, so it locks itself in real well, like that. And then you can go ahead and push it under. And you do have to be careful because this has two hangers in the front that they kind of get stuck on the mower deck when you're pushing it under. I'm gonna go ahead and put the front one in here first. Pin in. These are real tough to get in, so what I normally do is either use a pair of pliers and just pop it down in like that, or you can just push it in with your fingers. Now, this is the bracket I was telling you. You may have one or two of these brackets, and that's what keeps your belt on the front. If you don't have any brackets here, that belt's gonna fall off as soon as you disengage it. So you have to go underneath the bracket on your engine pulley, and just put it on like so. I'm going to come to the middle here, and I'm pushing the mower deck in a little bit so I can find out where the hangers are. Now you come up to your handle on your deck, put your handle all the way down. That'll lower your levers here, that'll lower the hangers. Now a lot of times these hangers aren't going to go all the way down to where the slot is right here. So you do have to pick up the mower deck. And like I said, you can use your block of wood, pick up the mower deck, or I just found it easier to slide my bar in here. Once you get a hand under there, you can kind of hold it up. And then you just have to kind of maneuver the mower deck back and forth, up and down a little bit. and it should find its way in there. Oh, boy, there it is. Okay, so this one, I had to actually lift up the front to bring the deck back so it would line up. So it does take a little, as I say, finagling to get it on there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the way I like to put it in, which is from forward to rearward. And again, these can be tough, so you can either use a pry bar or use your pair of pliers. I'm just gonna tap it in like that. I like to have them about halfway. Let's go to the other side. I'm gonna start up at the front here. Now this absolutely does not line up, so you have to move the mower deck up a little bit. Go ahead and put that down on there. Come to the center. Once you get the one side in, the other side usually goes in a little bit easier. Like that. Anti-sway bar. Also on these, check to make sure that this is not loose or broken. I have seen both where it breaks up top here at the frame. You have to order another one, or you can get somebody to weld that up. Make sure it's not loose. Lock that in. Now this is where I engage the mower deck. This is a manual engagement. Engage your mower deck, come down below. Make sure that everything is running the way it should. Nothing's off the pulleys. Double check from front to back. Make sure your engine, make sure everything's on. Make sure you have good spring tension. And when you know that's okay, make sure you disengage your mower deck so your engine will start. So at this point, I'm gonna take it outside, take it for a test drive, adjust all tire pressure, level the mower deck out. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the tools that we need today. So from the tools from left to right, somebody did see me using this in one of my past videos. I'll see if I can put this, if I can find it. I don't remember exactly where I got it from. It's a little bit hard, but believe it or not, it actually does make a big difference when you're kneeling on concrete or asphalt. So I'll put this in the link in the description below if I can find something for you. Grease gun, I'm using power tools, and somebody asked me how these are holding up for me. The Bauer is what I use from Harbor Freight. I know I probably do a lot more wrenching than most people, and these have held up really well. The mandrel kit here comes with the shaft and 2 bearings and the nuts. And this is made in USA. This is an OEM part number. It's a 532137646. I'm using the electric ratchet, of course, with a 6 to 8 inch extension, and that's a 30 Torx to get the bolts off the cover. 9/16 socket, 7/8 socket to get the nuts off the top of the shafts here. Pair of pliers, a few blocks if you guys have them to keep your deck from getting banged up. I'm using a deep socket to hit the inside of the race, putting the bearing down. A large punch to get the upper bearings out if needed. These were the old blades. We put new mulching blades on, and I just used a good American-made aftermarket. You can find them online anywhere probably, or go to your local lawnmower shop. These 2 hammers here in the beginning, I showed you guys that you needed these to help protect this, which you didn't need to because we're throwing these away anyway, so disregard that, but you just need a good hammer to punch these down and out. So that's pretty much it for the tools. So that pretty much wraps it up for how to install this new blade hub shaft and bearings on a Poulan Pro 42-inch 18 horsepower tractor. So what we found today is that if you are putting the blades on without taking the mower deck off, this can happen. So this is basically a repair on what I think was somebody put 1, blades on that were incorrect, and 2, he put the blades on while the mower deck was on, and it really is, it's a catch-22. It's easier doing it that way sometimes, but if you mushroom those shafts, then you're done. So that's pretty much it for this one. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, share my channel with your friends, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.